Hi everyone, Katarina here. Welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe that we are already on day number 6 of opening the boxes in the Papercraft Society Advent Calendar. And today's box, the 6th box, was designed by Card Making Magic, and the designer behind this one is Christina Griffith. Let's see what's inside this lovely pink envelope. So we have three design papers, one on white background with poinsettias, one on green with foliage and berries, one of that grayish bluish with all different snowflakes, and we have this sheet of foiled toppers, which I will cut out and then I will come back. I'll do that off camera. So my card base, you can see all the toppers cut out there with my scissors. The card base measures 7 by 7 inches, and it is just basic white. 6 7/8 and 6 7/8 is this holographic silver cardstock. And my, I'd say pattern, but it's not really a pattern paper. It's from a paper pad, measures 6 3/4 with 6 3/4, and it's just a plain navy one from this paper pad, which I got in the range, I believe, quite a while ago. It could have been 2 years ago I've got this one, and I still have it in my stash. So it is a lovely navy one, which I thought matched the color of that topper that I chose with Happy New Year just absolutely perfectly. So there's all different lovely designs in this one, which I thought went with the Happy New Year theme just really nicely. And I decided to go with the holographic silver because there's silver foiling on that topper, so I just played with those colors. I've cut out 1/2 inch wide strips of those pattern papers that I showed you earlier, and I've cut out 3 of each. I wasn't sure how many I was going to need. I thought this was a good guess, and I still have those pattern papers to play with at some time later. You can just add some of the toppers in there and create some really cute note cards. That would work very well. With these strips, I want to create like a floating element. I've done a similar card on my channel before. I will link to it below. It's not quite just like this, but it's quite similar. It's the same idea. So I've used Chloe's fancy rectangle dies to cut out that holographic cardstock, and then a piece of acetate that is just slightly bigger than that cardstock underneath. And I'm arranging these pieces of strips of paper on top. I have double-sided tape on the back of this to make sure it sticks to that acetate very well. And I am going to run this through my die cutting machine using that same die again. Now I know this will not cut it out perfectly, but it will leave a very good impression, so I can just glide my scissors on the line that it has left in there with me. And to be honest, this has cut out quite a good part of it. You know, it didn't need to cut everywhere, it just needed to help it on some of the parts. To raise this whole element up from the background, I'm applying double-sided foam strips behind every single one of those card stripes, and this will not show, so you will not see any of that foam tape, but it will look like the little stripes are floating above that holographic cardstock. I think it's such a cool technique to use. So in here, I'm just lining it up perfectly with the holographic cardstock. I wanted to create some sort of a starry background, which I thought went very well with the New Year's theme. So my first idea was to use this stencil with the polished silver heat embossing powder, which is, by the way, such a gorgeous heat embossing powder. But when I say my first idea was to use the stencil, it's because I could have cut this footage out. I didn't want. I wanted to show you what's going to happen in here. It just goes sideways so much, and I left it in to show you how to fix it. There's nothing impossible in crafting, and years ago this would have frustrated me so much I would have chucked the piece of cardstock into the bin, but now I just go with where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm going to fix it up. So please stay tuned so I can show you, if this happens to you, what way to fix things. So I used some anti-static powder on the whole of the cardstock, and I taped down the starry stencil in there. I'm applying Versamark ink using my finger dabber, and once this is done, my idea in here is to heat emboss it in sections. So I do this bit, and once it's heat embossed, I go over to the next section. So in here, I am going to add the silver polished silver heat embossing powder on top of this whole area. And you will see what happens. I've slowed this way down so you can see exactly what's happening in here. That embossing powder is just literally everywhere. It's not a crisp image. Some of the stars don't even look like stars. I really do not like this. So I did try to clean it up with a brush a little bit and all that, but it just wasn't what I wanted. I mean, we are not always aiming for perfection, but this one was really, really horrible. And I am kind of a perfectionist when it comes to crafting. I did not like this at all. So I decided to clean it off then. I just rubbed it off with some microfiber cloths and I applied the anti-static powder on it again. I was thinking of changing the stencil to something like with bigger holes, but then I decided to chuck that idea too. So I took this little stamp for the corners first of all. I will talk about this stamp in a little later on this video. First of all, I want to show you what happens. Again, anti-static powder, I stamped it with my Versa marking and I applied the same embossing powder in just one of these corners. And look what happened. It's just exactly the same. All over the place, not a nice crisp image. So I just said maybe the coating on this paper doesn't like embossing. I don't know. But then I had a different idea to try a different embossing powder, and this is Silver Dollar by Chloe's Creative Cards. And look what happens in here in this corner. The perfect crisp image. So I decided to try the other corners as well, and they all came out perfectly crisp. So in here I realized that it's something with the embossing powder, the polished silver, that it didn't like. So I cleaned off that fourth corner as well, again with the microfiber cloths, added some more anti-static powder, re-stamped it, and added my Silver Dollar embossing powder on it, and all four corners came out just absolutely perfect. As you can see on this close-up video, there's a lot of residue left over from the stenciling in there too. My first thought was that it will get covered up with all the embellishments that I will be using, but then I'm not happy about it, and you will see me later on in this video. I will clean that up. Most of it will be removed, and it's such an easy technique, and you will not see that residue left at all. This old unbranded die I have in my stash cuts out all these different sizes of little stars, and I used my holographic cardstock to cut them out, which I will apply later on in the background on this video instead of the stenciling of the stars. You could see when I was stamping these little corners, I didn't go right to the corner of the edge of the cardstock because I wanted to add some glittering on the four sides using the crystalline glitter by Chloe's Creative Cards, which is a translucent glitter. It will show the color behind it but adds that gorgeous, lovely, stunning sparkle. Removing the double-sided tape from the back of my cardstock, I'm lining it up on top of the holographic base of cardstock. And then I will just use some liquid glue to add this on top of my card base, and I'm just making sure that it's all lined up perfectly. There's a lovely, even, very thin white border on all four sides of my holographic cardstock. So once this is done, I'm adding some foam pads behind my sentiment, and you see me changing my mind. I turn it sideways. I thought it went much better with the shape of my sentiment. And now I'm going to show you the stamp set that I used, and this is from Chloe's Creative Cards, and this is the latest box kit that was released. I think it's number 14, and it is this little corner one that I used to stamp or decorate the corners of my cardstock. I will also be using this big floral one and the holly berry foliage as well. So the two colors that I used are the green and red that I will show you from the Lidl cardstock range. And I thought these two colors went so very well with the colors on this one from Christina's. The darker shade of the poinsettia and then the green of the foliage, I thought it was just pretty close to the same kind of shade. So I heat embossed them just with white embossing powder, and I added some crystalline glitter onto the flowers, just following those lines with my fine tip glue bottle, and I added some berries, white ones on some and on the others red ones. They are just flat back pearls in all different sizes. So I glued my embellishment on, and now I'm going to use, oh, this is how I twisted. Just I showed you how I twisted all those little petals. Pinched the middle in within the tweezer and just I twisted it towards me. It lifts them up so nicely and ruffles up those petals a bit. I think it's cool. So I added a little bit of a foam pad behind these flowers, and then I used hot glue to make sure they stick on properly. And I add all the different foliages, just scattering them here and there all around those flowers. And I think these work so very well together. In here, I'm just using my hot glue to add them. I think that's the speediest way to add them. I love using my hot glue, and I need to change my setup in here in my room because I keep reaching over through the camera in here. It's in the wrong place for recording. And now I'm going to add my sentiment in there, and this is almost ready. All I have to do is add those little stars. So I'm just dotting little glue that's everywhere all over this cardstock, and I will do this whole off camera because this takes a little while to go around the whole background. There's no point me just playing with this and taking up your time. So I just come back once this is done off camera. The card is almost ready, other than little embellishments for the flowers, for the middle of them. So I tried the silver one, they don't like it, and I came back with these lovely white pearl ones. I think they just add so much elegance to them. They are quite large, the largest from the packets that I have, and this is the finished card. How gorgeous is this? I love how it turned out. So much sparkle and shine, and I will come back with some footage to show you once this is all dry the next day at proper daylight. So here's the footage. To remove all that adhesive, or residue of the adhesive, I'm using this very inexpensive tool. This is called an adhesive eraser. You can pick it up anywhere online or in craft shops. I got mine on eBay just for a couple of pounds, and it removes it so well. Now, because my cardstock is so dark, it leaves a little bit of a rubbery residue in there, but I just come back with some microfiber cloths to remove that, and that's it. Easy peasy. Please do not forget to go over and check out Monika's and Mel's channels as well. Mel has been posting lovely unboxing videos in much more detail, and Monika has been posting some lovely tutorials as well, just for some different inspiration. I will leave the links to their YouTube channels in the description box below. Make sure you head over to their channels as well. So, and here's the lovely card. Next day, proper daylight footage. I think this turned out lovely. It just screams Happy New Year to me with the stars, the sparkle. I really hope you liked today's tutorial too. And if you did, please do not forget to give me the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. And most importantly, hit the notification bell so you would get notified when I upload another video, which will be tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with box number 7. I'll see you then. Bye!